Hello and welcome back to this edition of Daily Actives brought to you by Bootleg Macro. I am Dustin. We're going to be looking at Lucid. Now, Lucid is one of those stocks that I make videos about a lot because it is very regularly and very commonly on the most active stocks in Yahoo Finance. Why, you ask, boys and girls? It is because it is a very cheap stock that has very high vol and people love to buy calls. Now, if we're looking at what we're seeing today inside of Lucid, I would say that this is probably the most aggressively bullish look I have seen since back in the to the end of 2024, beginning of 2025. The reason why is because what I'm seeing here is that first off, the price is two standard deviations above its mean. That's what it means. It has the red background with the black lettering. We are seeing very normal volume here with nearly 250 million shares traded. The trade level is at 200 or $2.36, which does seem pretty far away from where it is now, but I know that Lucid loves to run. The thing that I love is that I'm seeing higher highs in the range. Now, when you start to see higher highs, you're starting to see this red line go higher, especially when it's screaming higher like this in a market where you're starting to see real call buying activity and real volatility and real froth. This is the type of thing that you'd want to get on a pullback, at least in my opinion. I'd be looking for days like this where it's down 7%, 10%, or 2%. Where over the course of that couple days, you were essentially down 10% over the course of a couple days. That's going to be the great setup in something Lucid. I would not personally be buying this at any time soon just because it was up nearly 11% today. It's up 35% nearly in 5 days, nearly 50% in 15 days. Goodness. This is the type of move that will make fortunes and take fortunes, essentially. If you bought it at $3.12, you felt you were dying for 2 days and you were only up 1 penny from there. Now, if you're a true believer and you really want to get into the Lucid craze, go knock yourself out. But if I want to be honest about where we've been, you can see here we've got this negative rolling return in the 1 day, 5 day, 15 day, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year. Not that long ago. This was the beginning of July, boys and girls. It just went bullish on the 8th of July and has not looked back since. That is what I'd be looking for. I'd be looking for when I'm seeing this bull trigger, which is essentially when you're seeing a flip on the 1 month rolling return from very negative to suddenly very aggressively positive, and it's bullish. That was a good signal. It was at $2.30. But the thing is, you haven't really seen a major pullback. Now, you did see here a little bit when you were down 1.7% for the day, nearly 100 basis points, nearly 80, nearly 100 basis points again. But you're not really seeing these massive pullbacks except for what you saw yesterday. So yesterday or the day before were really the 2 days that I would have considered even potentially entering into Lucid. I'm not sure what is going to happen because I'm not sure the correlation that this thing has to necessarily Tesla. Let's go ahead and look at some of the other stocks that are relatively related to Lucid because it'll give you an idea of what's going on in its own individual market here. So we can see we've got Rivian. Let's see what we got going on in Rivian real quick. Rivian's also a very interesting one. The only difference that I would say with Rivian is that I believe that they're probably a more consistently known as well as actually driven car company. But Rivian is showing a very similar pattern to what we're seeing in Lucid. I like what I'm seeing here in Rivian. The reason why is because we've had looks 3 days in a row where we essentially didn't go anywhere. Yesterday, we literally did not go anywhere. We've been bullish for quite a bit here since the 8th, which is very similar to what we saw in Lucid. It went bullish on the 8th here, and now you can see that it is above its trade level at 1326. It's at 1329 now. The one thing I'd like to see would be a higher high in the trade range. We haven't necessarily seen that just yet, but as you can tell based on what we saw here on the 20th back in May, Rivian is one of those stocks that can do the exact same thing as Lucid, which means they can go straight up, rip your heart out, and go straight down until it starts to see a little bit of bullishness again. I do think that this is considered to be what I would say is proper bullishness inside of something like this. I'm gonna add this to my portfolio real quick. Let's go ahead and see what else we have. Ooh, Tesla. We already knew Tesla's gonna be on there, but that's because Tesla is always, I spelled it wrong. Tesla is always on there. The only thing that I would honestly say about Tesla is that you have some massive concern due to the fact that you've got some political backlash potentially, as well as you've got targeting from the administration towards the actual CEO currently. Much respect to Elon for what he's doing, but he definitely is getting in the way of the potential shareholders. If we're going to be honest about what we're seeing here, this thing really has not gone anywhere. Over the past 6 months, this thing is still down 16.5%. The thing that I do love about Tesla, very much what I just showed you in Rivian, is that you've been in the green with the black lettering for the past week or two. The reason why that's nice is because that's in the middle of its standard deviation range, which means it's the middle of the range. We are not seeing a massive blowout in the volume. We are seeing the price start to spike a little bit today. It is up 1.10% for today, nearly 7% over the past 5 days, nearly 5% over the past 15. Obviously, we're still down in the 1 month, and that is truly, I would say, is going to be to the chagrin and to the actual detriment of any potential shareholder, swing trader, day trader, anybody who's really trying to see movement in this thing. The volatility has essentially been sucked out of Tesla. I mean, if we're going to be real fair to where we are right now, well, let's see here. Yeah, back in May, you really were a little bit higher than you are now. But if we're going to be honest, you're essentially around the same price that you were in February. We have not seen a resumption of actual uptrend we did here in the beginning of 2024, the end of 2024, going into 2025. Obviously, on the 21st, which was the inauguration day or the day after, we essentially saw a massive bear run inside of Tesla, and nothing has really transitioned into anything that's been substantial. Now we see bullishness, we see sentiment, but we do not see major price appreciation. Obviously, we're up nearly 30% in 3 months, but you're still down 16% or 17% nearly in the past 6 months, and you're still down in the 1 month nearly 5%. It's just tough to see. Now, if we're thinking about what's going to necessarily impact Lucid, Lucid will not necessarily have that exact same issue that Tesla has. Let's go ahead and look at NIO since we're just looking at all these car companies real quick. I do think that the car companies do have a great opportunity here because the market is starting to show you that the economy may not be as bad as people think. And goodness, Neo, this is the type of move people want to see. What you're looking for, and this is what you'd want to see in Tesla that we didn't see, is you want to see some sort of move higher. You want to see an actual aggressive move higher. Now, this is showing black lettering with a red background and means it's 2 standard deviations above its mean. Now, when we get this red lettering with the white background, that's 3 standard deviations above its mean, as you'd expect, because it's breaking a downtrend. Now, what I like here is that we are seeing a higher high. The concern I would say is that we're already above the top of the range, considering that it closes at 501 and the top of the range is at $5. But if we're going to be real serious, the big thing that I'd love to see is this 1 month or the 1 year rolling return starting to flip. Because look at this. Look at how far back we have to go before we see 2 days in a row of a 1 year rolling return. That was positive. We're talking, we're going back years, right? Up to the back of my data sets. This is 1 full year. This is a little bit over a full year ago in 2024. We have not seen a positive 1 year return with 2 days in a row in Neo since then. So if we're going to be honest about what we'd look at, yeah, and Neo has essentially been dog shit going back even 5 years. And you can see the highs back in 2021. We are not seeing anything that even remotely looks at, but this could be the beginning of at least a run up to something here. That was a $7 run. That was a very similar spot. It was at $3.70. And by then you ended up hitting $7. That's a huge move, right? And there's a potential there because look, what we're seeing in Neo is you're already up 46% in 1 month. You're up 46% over the past 15 days. You're up 18% in 5 days, essentially. I do like what I see here. I'd be looking for a little bit of a pullback. I'd want to see the black lettering with the green background. So that means it's in the standard deviation range, right in the middle of the range. So Neo would be the one that I'd be paying attention to. Let's look at Ford. I don't know why Ford even gets a little bit of love, but I'm sure they do because they're another car company and they're related to Neo, to Lucid, to Rivian, to Tesla, to all of them. But this is the worst. Out of all the car companies, this thing, over the 1 year, this thing is down nearly 21%. Over 6 months, it's up 11%. Over 3 months, it's up 11%. Why? Why? Just based on what we've looked at, you want something that has so much more volatility, something that has so much more potential movement, something that has so much more potential upside versus something that is $7 and was at $12 a year ago, right? There's nothing positive about change. Yeah, we're positive, then negative, then positive, then negative, then positive, then negative. Like Ford is just whatever you think of the car company, whatever you think of the actual cars, the stock is not doing anything that you'd want to do if you're watching a video like this on YouTube. So tell me what you think in the comments below. Are you long? Are you short? Do you love it? Are you gonna buy Lucid? Because to be honest, as we've already outlined, Lucid is really the one that you'd want to buy. Right. If I'm looking at my portfolio, I believe I added it in. Lucid is the one that you want to buy. I didn't add it in, but Lucid is the one that you want to buy because look at this thing. Actually, I would buy Neo if I was to buy anything. Lucid had a lot of movement. It's got a lot of shares that are being turned over. Nothing this or almost at a billion shares in one day. But you're going to want to see a little bit of a pullback. I would want to see something much closer to 236, maybe 250 before I really start to think about entering into the individual stock. But that's just me. Tell me something in the comments below. I'll talk to you soon.